Transforming Blue Economy Sectors Towards Sustainability. My name is Alice Guittard, and I'm a researcher at the Athens University of Economic and Business. The university is part of a wider network called the Alliance of Excellence for Research and Innovation on I4IA, where we are working on transformation for system sustainability, with one of our focus, the oceans and seas. And there, we're looking more specifically at innovations, science and policies, but also stakeholder engagement in order to support this necessary transformation. As part of this Module 6, I will talk about the blue economy, the sustainability transformation. Then we're going to look at specific tool and approach to support the sustainability transformation as the system innovation approach, and how we apply it to the Black Sea as part of the Bridge Black Sea project. Now, what is the blue economy? The blue economy is about the marine sectors, such as the traditional sectors, fishery, tourism, shipbuilding, shipping and port, offshore oil and gas, but also the emerging sectors, such as marine renewable energy, aquaculture, biotech, but also desalinization, marine defense, marine observation. But one of the key concepts of the blue economy is the sustainability part. And what do we mean by that? We mean that we want sustainability develop those sectors in the sense that they should be socially equitable, economically viable, and environmentally bearable. Because over the past 70 years, the blue economy has experienced what has been called the blue acceleration, an exponential growth of anthropogenic activities at seas and the exploitation of marine resources. If you want to have more details on this blue acceleration, please have a look in this article by Jouffre and al. From 2020 that was published in One Earth. Because these great accelerations had dramatic impact on marine ecosystems, including stock depletion, high pollutions of the seas by chemicals and plastics, leading to habitat degradation and biodiversity loss. Critical indicators reveal that business as usual is going to result in a collapse of key biophysical ocean functions, with major implications for the global economy and the societies. Therefore, a new relationship between humanity and the ocean is required. And if we look at the Black Sea context, it is translated into various multi-stressors, such as acidification, warming of the sea, invasive species, eutrophication phenomenon, but also the Black Sea is characterized by multiple and various types of pollutions from sea and land-based activities. Therefore, the need to transform our food, energy, and mobility systems at seas and urban systems along our coast towards sustainability is necessary. What do we mean by sustainability transformation? Well, a definition can refer to the fundamental and systemic changes necessary to transition towards a more sustainable and resilient society, economy, and environment. It involves shifting from current unsustainable patterns of production, consumption, and resource use to pathways that promote long-term ecological balance, social equity, and economic prosperity. Here is an example of transformations pathways that have been developed as part of the Sustainable Development Solution Network. They look at 6 different types of transformations that outline a systemic policy approach to help achieve the SDGs and the Paris Agreement, looking at key necessary interventions in the energy sectors, in the health and well-being sectors and systems, in the education, but also how digital transformations can support such a changes, also transformation within the cities and communities, as well in our food, land, and waters. Another example of transformation is the one that has been developed by the FAO for the fishery and aquaculture sectors. This blue transformation includes a vision for the aquatic food systems, a roadmap for the blue transformation, and it focuses on the elements that would maximize the contribution of aquatic food systems to the SDGs. And these transformations is seen as being more efficient, inclusive, resilient, and sustainable for aquatic food systems, for better production, better nutrition, better environment, and a better life. And this is encompassed into this key element of leaving no one behind. And now we're going to see an example of approach in order to support this sustainability transformation. And here we are talking about the system innovation approach. The system innovation approach is an approach towards systemic change based on the development of an interconnected set of innovation in order to solve complex problems. And here we mean the system innovation approach as an ultimate goal to develop with local stakeholders portfolio of connected projects across technologies, governance, finance, and social innovations. The whole approach emphasizes the need to look at the multiple functions across the whole sectors and the variety of actors that are part of it, instead of just focusing on one specific part or an individual or just the benefit of specific sectors. And the system innovation approach, as I mentioned before, is based on the engagement of all the stakeholders that have a part or a stake in the system. And it aims at supporting the achievement of a long-term sustainable visions using a backcasting process. And it is based on the multi-level perspective framework and the niche management concept. So the multi-level perspective framework, it's a conceptual model used to analyze social technical transitions, such as shift in energy, food, mobility systems. The multi-level perspective explains how large-scale transitions occurs through interactions between three analytical levels. First of all, the macro level, the socio-technical landscape, which is looking at a broader external context, looking at cultural value, macroeconomic trends, environmental pressures, global crises such as the biodiversity crisis or climate change. Then it looks at the meso level, the socio-technical regime, where here we have dominant system of technologies, practices, regulations, and cultural norms that form the basis of a current system, such as today, the fossil fuel-based energy system. And finally, we have the micro level, where the transformation starts. It's called the niche innovations. It's generally protected space where radical innovations can emerge, such as electric vehicles or renewable energy techniques, in order to slowly pressures and replace the socio-technical regime in place. Because societal transitions, they are not random events. They emerge from a specific constellation of conditions that interact in a complex ways across those three levels. So the transitions come about when landscape pressures, such as population growth, technological change, environmental crisis, result in the realization that existing socio-technical regime, so the meso level, such as the fossil fuel-based energy system, are inappropriate to address the current destructive pressures or achieve a set of broader sustainability goals, such as the ones that are proposed in the SDGs. An example of so what does that mean in the blue economy system, looking at in the lens of the multi-level perspectives? It's about how within the energy system, we could transition from offshore mineral extractions to blue renewable offshore energy system. How within the food system in the blue economy, we could transition towards a sustainable and circular fishery and aquaculture sector. So another part of the system innovation approach, fundamental, is the engagement of stakeholders. And A tool to support this process is the Living Lab. Living Labs, such as sustainability-oriented living labs, are participatory research tools that are often used in planning, product design, and innovation focus that will look at specific challenges, such as sustainability challenges. So Living Lab bring together a collective of key stakeholders to explore a focal issue and finding solutions through innovations, but not only. Living Labs, they act as open innovation space. They support a co-creation with end users with the expectation that they will better solve the stakeholder needs because they are truly part of the whole process and system from looking at and agreeing on what are the key problems into finding the right solutions. And in the middle, agreeing on the common goals. Another key element of the system innovation approach is the innovation. So innovation as enablers for sustainability and transformation. Within the blue economy, it's about looking at how conventional sectors and fast-growing activities can sustainably achieve their transitions through innovative, sustainable ocean solutions. And here, the main goal is about mitigating their anthropogenic impact, as well as offering new sustainable business opportunities. And here we're looking at innovations related to the adoption of digitalizations, process automation, modernization and development of new, innovative, more sustainable infrastructures. But it's not only about technological innovation. Social innovations are also fundamental to support the sustainable transformations and trigger the necessary change within the communities. Social innovation have multiple definitions throughout the literature, but we can define them as a process of designing, implementing, and institutionalizing novel social practices that address societal challenges and inequality through collaborative governance in order to support systemic transformation. It enhances collective well-being by restructuring social relationships, shifting cultural values, and empowering the civil society. So your social innovations are really there to ensure that economic and ecological transitions also are embedding equity, inclusion, and long-term resilience. Examples of social innovations can be found into innovative educational programs, professional upskilling and reskilling training, awareness campaigns, and sustainability community-led actions toward sustainable behavior and impact. So how do we implement this system innovation approach? It's a step-by-step methodology that we can divide into 3 different phases. So first of all, we look at the scope. And here it's about defining the boundary of the system the Living Lab and the system innovation approach will be embedded in. It can be a region, it can be a city, but it can also be temporal or even conceptual. And there we initialize a specific set of focus and objectives. Then we are mapping the system itself to better understand how does it work, what are the different interactions between the different elements, which can be between the different sectors, between the different stakeholders, between the different issue, challenges, needs, and so on. And through this process that are embedded within a stakeholder engagement, it allows to better understand the whole system and leading to a problem definition where we will actually explicitly define a problem statement that will be the focus to be solved within the system innovation approach. And once we have this specific problem defined, then we move to envisioning a sustainable future, a long-term visions that will describe the desired state to be reached. And within these visions, we could extract specific goals and targets that then we will co-develop co-design pathways towards this future vision. And the system innovation approach use a backcasting methodology in order to define the specific pathways. So we are looking at the visions, and then we're going backwards in order to identify the intermediary steps and specific actions that will allow us to reach this vision. So as part of the Bridge Black Sea project, we implemented the system innovation approach and the Living Lab tool in 5 different countries and 6 different living labs. And within these living labs that took place over a space of 3 years, we had a series of workshops. The first one, a workshop, allowed us to clearly define the problem scope and ensuring that all participants, stakeholder representative of the blue economy, had a common understanding in terms of the needs, pressure, challenges, but also opportunities in relation to the blue economy and the sustainable state of the marine ecosystems. Then the local stakeholders in each of the living labs and the regions envisions a sustainable future for their regions. And from that visions, they co-designed blue transformative pathways in order to reach these sustainable visions. So here is a visual representation of the visions for each of the region where living labs were implemented as part of the Bridge Black Sea project. So we had the vision for the Istanbul Bosphorus region, for the Bulgarian Black Sea coast, for the Romanian Danube influence area, for the Batumi region in Georgia, for the northwestern Black Sea region in Odessa Bay, and for the Sinop region in Turkey. Again. And once we had these visions, we could extract the key sectors, blue economy sectors, that were in need of transformations, and from where we will be focusing in co-designing the blue transformation pathways. So in all the regions, local stakeholders focused on 6 different sectors: ports and shipping, aquaculture, coastal and marine tourism, fisheries, marine renewable energies, and also dedicated pathways for sustainable environmental management. And there, local stakeholders co-designed a pathway in the form of a roadmap of short, mid, and long-term actions, including innovations, best practices, management measures, financial support, in order to reach the visions for their region. So take-home message. So many blue economy sectors are operating in an unsustainable manners, with dramatic impact on marine ecosystems, calling for sustainable transformation. Sustainability transformation aims at shifting societal systems towards long-term ecological balance, social equity, and economic prosperity. The system innovation approach is a participatory, innovation-centered approach to implement such a sustainable transformation. The Bridge Black Sea project co-designed with Black Sea local communities blue economy sector-based transformative pathways for tourism, shipping, fishery, aquaculture, marine renewable energy, and marine environmental management. Through this process, we provided a portfolio of short, mid, and long-term concrete actions to support the sustainable development of the blue economy in the region. And the next step will be to concretely implement those pathways. Here is a complementary list of additional reading if you are interested to dive in more into this specific topic. Thank you very much for your attention.